students being interviewed today. Before we begin, I just want to say that there are certain questions that are rather personal in nature about sex education, sexuality, gender identity, so if at any point in time you are uncomfortable with any of the questions, please feel free to refrain from responding.
Sure.
How do you identify in terms of sexuality and gender identity?
Well, I identify as pansexual, and gender identity, I'm a trans woman.
Have you ever felt excluded based on your gender and or sexuality, and if so, how?
Not really.
Have you ever felt pressure to conform to any gender stereotypes and or expectations, and if so, which ones?
I didn't really notice. For the gender stuff, it's mostly like, before I transitioned, it was like, I couldn't do certain things, like couldn't have long hair, other things like that. And then after I transitioned, it's a combination of gender and my sexuality. Like my parents, specifically my mom, she's used to be very religious and she still has those ideas in her head. And depending on who I'm with, a man or a woman, she has certain ideas of how I should proceed in my relationship, which is different, I guess.
When did you first learn about sex or receive sex education?
My first time receiving real sex education was probably when I was like 18 or 19.
What role did schools play in that, or parents, or either internet?
Well, my parents didn't teach me anything. They signed a paper for me to get sex education in middle school, but it was more of like, the boys go here, and we'll teach the girls about periods and stuff like that. And then in high school, they just taught us about like STDs, and they sort of implied that you can get STDs through masturbation too. But I really, like, when I went to college, I was visiting a professor's friend, or my brother's friend, who's a professor of psychology, and he also taught sexuality class, and a lesbian history teacher came into her office and was talking about some sort of, she mentioned vulva, and I thought she was talking about Volvo, the car, because I'd never heard of it. Mm-hmm. And that's when I got my first, I got sex education from those two. She had like a little pillow with a vagina, right?
Like a Tyra Banks pillow vulva.
I guess. Then I took a human sexuality class after that.
What is your opinion about what is currently being taught in schools at any level? College, high school, middle school, elementary?
Elementary, I'm not sure it's like necessary, but and like middle school and high school, I think it's really the parents' job. But I do think they should have some sort of thing like sex education in high school. Probably middle school would be better, but I really don't know.
Do you feel that there's anything missing from sex education?
Mainly like just like other sexualities besides straight, right? Gay, straight, or gay, straight. The other ones that I don't care to list off. And then also gender identity, which they almost always skip over, even in college.
So that already answered my next question. How would you feel about sex identities and gender identities being taught in schools? Would you have anything that you would want to add to that? Like possible benefits of that or consequences of that being taught or not taught?
Not being taught, people get confused and not really learn about who they are. Or, like being trans is an option, being genderqueer is an option, or any of those things. Or even being not straight is being an option. So, I think it's just not teaching it at all can leave people confused, not really realizing that there's other options besides being straight they see in the media.
what would you like to see schools incorporate into sex education in addition to what you've already mentioned?
I don't know, just general stuff, just gender identity. Nothing like super, specific on it for everything, but just to make sure that people know that there's options. So.
All right, thank you for your time.